Recorded live from the unfinished loft project of Des's home just outside Brighton in Sussex, welcome to the £200,000 to £100,000 Challenge podcast. This is your no thrills, no BS, and absolutely no get rich quick or passive income promises hub. Hosted by your man, Des Hamilton.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you've all had a good week. My little girl's just come back from having her jabs done for the first time. Heartbreaking, but I like putting these timestamps out there in real life, so when I listen back to these, I can go, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, it's going to be a rough night. Anyway, we're in the tail end of August. Now, kids are all going back to school next week. Routines are in place. The dark nights are setting in, aren't they? Horrible time of year when you realise that. It's been an extended period of unrest for me, what with the baby coming at the end of June, and then paternity saw me through July. And then we hit August, and it felt like the routine was a lifetime ago. And I think this is one of the reasons why I've just been out of sorts. And you may have seen my latest TikTok, YouTube, Instagram thing that I did on the down days, and I've had to look inside and practice what I preach a little bit, because I always talk about how the mindset is over half the battle, and my God, I've had to dig a bit deep these last couple of weeks. So my business partner, Steve, who we met a couple of weeks ago, he and we're working really hard on something at the moment, throwing all the other stuff that I've got on the go too, the Facebook group, the mentoring, social media posts, this podcast, and some actual Amazon selling, and there's bags of admin that come with all of them. Ultimately, though, my secret weapon when it comes to tackling all of this, it gets much easier when you've got a routine in place, of course, is to get your habits in place. If you remember last week's episode, we took a break in the middle of the Jamie and Tara interview as we were talking about what to do when things started getting overwhelming. So the second half of this interview continues on that theme, and it fits today's show perfectly. So in here today, what we're going to do is go through all of the personal stuff with Jamie and Tara. What motivates them? What changes have they experienced? What resource have they found that helps them the best? And then some extra stuff as well. I'm going to pop back at the end with my usual bit. I'll talk about how I use habit setting in my daily life. And of course, tip of the week is back. So we're going to pick up the interview as Jamie and I are talking about switching off when things get heavy. Enjoy. When I talk about mindset, we do all of the things to keep you motivated, but I also talk about when you're setting your habits that you put restraints on yourself for that exact same reason. Yeah. If you say, I'm going to give myself 2 hours after work, it needs to be 2 hours after work, especially if you're spinning other plates. I know we've all got partners and we've all got other obligations. You don't want to neglect those for the sake of this either.
No, you don't, no. But it's so easy to get caught up in it, and it really is that you just, you sit in front of your laptop, or if you're going out doing the retail after, all of a sudden 3-4 hours have gone, and it's just like, God, I only allowed 2, and then, you're trying to beat yourself up a bit. So, it is time. You have to manage your time so much better.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go into the personal insights. So how has you becoming a seller changed your personal life? Not about the money, just about the way you do things and your perspective on entrepreneurship. Because I know I never used to like the word entrepreneur. I used to call it entrepreneur. I've certainly changed my perspective. But yeah, how has it changed you guys?
Do you know what? It hasn't really, because I haven't told anybody I'm doing it. Obviously, my better half knows, but she doesn't quite understand it. But it hasn't really changed anything because I've told nobody I'm doing it.
You've been a business owner for decades, haven't you?
Yeah. I have run businesses before. I don't think I've run a business where all the other businesses I've run, there's kind of been like a scale where you think, okay, that's enough. But with this, I just see it growing and growing and growing. But personal life hasn't changed anything yet because I don't take any money from it. Everything goes straight back in. So it's not financial.
Nice. How about time balance?
In my day-to-day life, I'm quite a sort of structured person. So I'll allocate time to do things. So, I'll get up in the morning. I make sure I go for my hour's walk. I'll do my 9 to 5 job. If I get an hour's break for my lunch, I'll do some sourcing then. Or if anything needs doing for the business, then I'll do it then. So, yeah, I'm quite structured like that, really. I've not really had many challenges with sort of the work-life balance around that, to be honest with you.
How about you, Jamie? Are you still getting as much family time as you were?
Yeah. No, I still that's still absolutely fine. It's mental energy with me more than anything else.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my other job's not a 9 till 5, and there are some days I'd like to do a bit of like, Amazon, be it, listening to something, reading or doing something, even if it's 10, 15 minutes a day. But some days I just can't. I'm just mentally exhausted from the other job. The one thing I try not to let interfere with it is my time with the kids. My kids are older anyway. They got their own lives. The last thing they want to do is spend too much time with their boring old dad. Has it been detrimental to the job I'm doing at the minute? Maybe sometimes. Maybe I've put the Amazon thing first before my main job, and I have to kind of kick myself and say, look, my main job is allowing me to do this.
Yeah, that's it.
So, just buckle down and get that done.
Yeah, I've purposely moved my personal computer away from my work computer. So when I'm at my work computer, I'm doing work.
Yeah.
And it's in another room. So I just don't have that, the temptation.
Because it's so easy to do it, isn't it?
It really is.
I'll just spend 5 minutes doing this, and all of a sudden it's not 5 minutes.
No, that's it. And I take pride in the fact that my work have never said to me, are you distracted? My day job is still my day job.
We're fortunate that we're in that position, that we can do that. There's some people that do, they put money in and they're going to have to take some money out.
Yes.
But we're fortunate with our jobs that we can, everything just has to go straight back in.
No, exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, I don't think I would have done as well as I've done without my wife getting involved as well. Not just getting involved in the processes, but also just being there emotionally. But the fact that I kept her involved and she's picked up time with the kids when I might have had a mentoring session to run. Or even now, the barbecue's lit down in the garden. I can hear them all running around. But I know that she supports me doing this because she's in on the plan for the goals. You
also got to remember, just because this is what it's like now, that's not what it's going to be like in a couple of years' time. You're going to have that extra time. You're going to have more quality time, hopefully, if it all goes right. There's more than just money here. That's not what it's all about. And I think maybe that's what it is. That's what drives you more than anything else.
Yeah.
It is being able to spend that time with the people that you love. You're not so stressed. At a whim, you can just go out for dinner or spend some time with your kids. It's not just the money. It's not.
So while we're on the advice sharing platform, what sort of advice would you give others? What books, and I'm not going to say what courses would you take because that would just be bad, but what sort of books or what learning mechanisms would you say to others before you get started? This is what we recommend.
Oh, okay. So I'd say a good book that I listened to was Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck.
Oh yeah.
I found that really good. Some good mindset books, and if you're thinking of doing it, do it. Just take the plunge, as scary as it might be. I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am now if I didn't take that mentoring course. It just almost put me ahead of the game, if that makes sense. I learned everything I needed to know off that mentoring course, and it really helps getting your foundations in place.
And there's plenty of good ones out there. Will just speed everything up, just like learning anything, especially when, like Jamie said, learning a new language. Of course.
I'm not a bookie, really. YouTube, yeah, I love having stuff playing in the background. Probably more just motivational stuff more than anything else. Because I already know what my goals are. I know what to do. I know what I want to do. I can stay motivated. I've never been really a big reader. What was the one that he's a rich guy, poor guy as well.
The dad, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, his stuff I love.
Yeah.
I love his stuff. Straight to the point. No rubbish.
That book made me look at money an awful lot differently. And I've been bitter towards money for decades.
You have to understand money and how it works.
Mm.
Or the best ways to utilise the money that we have or the credit that we have, etc.
That's it. That's exactly it. The way you look at money and the relationship you have with it. And what on the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it was basically, poor people spend their money on liabilities. Rich people spend their money on investments. And you think, that's exactly right. Here I am with a house, a car, a caravan. These are all bleeding me dry. When the rich people, most of them don't even have a mortgage, but...
No, they don't. No, most of them live off debt.
Yeah, that's it.
Because it's free.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Incredible. I agree with both of those things. It's funny, isn't it? Because when we talk about Amazon in particular, a process is a process. Sending a shipment is sending a shipment. Doing sourcing, there is no secret sauce to sourcing. It's due diligence, it's perseverance, and it's honing your own individual processes.
Yeah.
But you can teach how to source, you can teach how to ship, you can teach how to keep your inventory management decent. The mindset is the thing that cuts you apart. Both just hit the nail on the head there. Tara reads books, and we talked about the mindset book. You, Jamie, you talked about listening to motivating YouTubes and podcasts and audio stuff. It's the same thing. It's only motivation. The Amazon stuff, no one reads a book about Amazon. You don't need to.
No.
But if you had a mentor, a good one, what they do is they teach you the processes, but most importantly, they teach you the mentality that you need. And all of this get-rich-quick stuff is just a lie, and it would dishearten you, and you would quit within 3 months.
There's some mentors out there, but all it is they're telling you the process. Well, you can watch a video to do that.
Yeah.
There's so much more behind it. Basic, business acumen and skills and things. And I don't know, anybody can tell you and show you how to log on to Amazon seller site and do it. But, what do you do when you're having a tough time and mentally? How do you keep motivated? And, how do you not let it affect your personal life and things like that? They're the things you've got to learn and grow and teach yourself. For a mentorship, I think, that there has to be a connection. For me and that person, there has to be. But I don't think I could sit down and listen to some 20-year-old kid that, all right, he might have made hundreds of thousands, but he's got no life experience. He doesn't know what it's like when you've got a family or you've got a mortgage or, your child's unwell. What do you do then? You've got to be able to relate to that person. I really do believe that.
So now you're in it. Now you're in the industry, the pair of you. Have you had any misconceptions about it that are changed now that you're in it?
Not really, but then I went into it thinking you're going to have to work hard because you get out what you put in, if that makes sense. So not massively for me, to be honest.
No, for me, it's a lot more time consuming than I thought. But the biggest thing is so much easier than I thought it would be. Sounds silly.
It's because you enjoy it, though.
It's a breeze. Half these videos, just ignore them because, you make a mistake. There's nothing that can't be undone.
Yeah.
So for me, it's once I've looked at it's just so much easier than I thought it would be.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because when I talk to you guys, it makes me reflect because it was only a year ago that I was in the same sort of shoes that you were in. For me, it was the amount of work it took because there wasn't many people out there telling you it was difficult. So I went out of my way telling people this is difficult. This is time consuming. Yeah, there weren't many people actually telling you that. There was a couple of people that said, this is what you do, blah, 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 blah. But a shipping plan, for God's sake. Do you know how hard it is to find a shipping plan on YouTube about someone telling you how to put a shipping plan together? Now, it's not difficult, but your first one will take you forever. The little nuances in there that I think could have been shared better.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that with retail and online arbitrage, that's a way for anyone to start with a fairly high ceiling. You can make an awful lot of money, even if you just stuck with retail and online arbitrage. You don't have to go wholesale or private label because everyone tries to sell you a wholesale or a private label course. But I think what people are missing is that there is enough in retail and online arbitrage to make money and anyone can do it. That's the key bit. Anyone can do it. You don't have to have knowledge.
And me personally, I think everybody should start there because it teaches you so much.
Agreed.
I think there's parts of that process that build you up and teach you for all the other stuff like the private label, the wholesale and things like that. Obviously, there's some people that go straight into it. I think it just gives you a better understanding. You're building the foundations.
Yeah, I agree. Used books is a perfect way to get in because it's low risk, it's low cost. It teaches you every single process. But what's really good about books is that it teaches you a pricing strategy that retail and online arbitrage doesn't teach you. When you're selling a used book and you're comparing it to a price of someone selling it for new, and there's no real rules about what to do. It's entirely on you, and you've got to think in the shoes of the customer, how much would I be willing to pay for a second-hand book? There's much more leeway, there's much more margin for a used book. But then when you get into RA and OA after selling a few used books, your pricing strategy is so much better because all of a sudden you start thinking, right, I'm going to read this keeper chart properly to find that biting point where the highest cost still meets a decent demand. I think it makes such a difference, and I agree with you entirely. I'm really glad now that I haven't touched wholesale or private label without having 6 to 8 months of retail and online arbitrage behind me.
I mean, I quite enjoy the online arbitrage. I do. I don't know. There's still that little buzz when you find something.
Yeah, treasure hunt, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's you can go forever for not finding it, and then when you do, that little adrenaline, I love it. I love it. Hopefully, I can't see myself, no matter what happens, stopping it. Not that side of it.
What about you, T?
Yeah, I feel I'm in it for the long run. Nothing's going to stop me.
Yes.
that sort of mentality.
Love
Yeah,
it.
I can't wait to scale up and grow within myself as well as the business.
Nice. So last of all then, what sort of changes can you see in yourself in the next 12 months?
Oh, that's a toughie. A less stress-free, relaxed person. I spent probably the last 10 years just being a stress ball. I just want to, I just want to not wake up stressed, go to bed stressed, spend the day stressed. Yeah, that's going to be it for me. I just want to feel a little bit calmer on the inside. I know it sounds silly,
Doesn't,
but that's all I want. I just want calmness.
What about you, Tara?
I see myself becoming more confident in what I'm doing, and also having some more financial freedom.
Yeah, that's great.
Hopefully buying a house.
Damn right. And a bike. But yeah, I find it just pride. I don't think I've ever been more proud of myself just from creating something and making it happen.
I suppose so, yeah. See, I hadn't thought about that before, but I can actually build something that I can leave for my children.
Yeah.
Not they deserve it, but they'll get it. But yeah, it's... See, this is what I mean. I go back to it. There's so much. Yeah, the money's going to be great. It is. I have no doubt it will build the money bit, but there's so much other things it brings along with it. Just that, as I said, that calmness, that quality of life. I'm 53 years old. If this hadn't come along, I'd still be sitting here a stress ball at 63 doing the same thing, and that makes me want to cry inside.
Yeah,
that does.
Also kicks you up the backside, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then that's where the urge to help other people come on, you can do this, so what, you're 53, 54, 55, just give yourself 2 years of your life, just give it a go, just try.
Yeah,
because what are you going to do in 2 years time? And you haven't.
That's it. That's one of the drivers that Steve and I have both got together. It's this ability to say, yes, we changed our own lives, but we'll look how many other lives we've changed as well.
Yeah,
that is something. That's a legacy.
It is, and it's an incredible feeling. It really is.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
I mean, you've changed mine unbelievably, Des.
And that's how we end the podcast, Jamie. Nailed it.
Oh, nearly cried then.
All right, welcome back. First of all, I've got to say this. Those two are so great, aren't they? We're going to check in with them every 6 months or so to see how they're doing. I know these guys aren't going to quit. It's just a matter of time. And it probably came through, but in talking to those two, I couldn't help but reflect on my journey and how I was this time last year. To say that I'm a different person is an understatement. I find myself doing voice notes to people. And then when I think about it after the fact, I think a year ago, that would have been a foreign language. Talking about unique bundles and wholesaling and GTIN exemptions. What the hell? One of the questions I get a lot is, how are you doing it all? Like I said earlier, it's all down to habits and it's all down to tracking. You guys know that I've got my inventory tracker that I give away, but I've also got other trackers in place like a habit tracker and then a money tracker. And I think I said this in an earlier TikTok or something, because if you want to change your life, you need to change your habits. Habits form your day. They underpin everything that you do, from your morning brew to your strategy on watching Love Island. Come on, we've all got one. We switch it off around about the time they throw the fake babies in. Who cares who wins? Whatever it is you do though, you need to make your habits suit you and your life. You can't make drastic changes straight away. You need to make the odd change, and then another, and then another, and then another. You get the point. Here's how I do it. First of all, I prioritise. With everything that I've got on my plate, I need to figure out what needs my attention the most, especially that day and in the next few. So what's urgent, what's important, what can wait? From there, I create my task list. And I've tried a few different apps and software, but in the end, I always go back to good old Google Calendar and Google Tasks. Those two bad boys run my life. And here is, this is becoming my catchphrase, here's the kicker. You need to prioritise your family too, because if you don't, you're going to lose sight in why you're doing all of this in the first place. Then I take a task and I create subtasks. and I break that mother down into a small, manageable chunk and as small as I possibly can. So rather than saying, right, I've got a content day, I'm going to make 5 podcast episodes and 4 TikToks and a YouTube. Instead, I spend 30 minutes brainstorming topics every Monday. You see what I've done? Those 30 minutes, they add up, and you just categorize each 30 minutes to something else towards that goal. And then there's my daily rituals. No, do me a favour, I'm not in the 5 a.m. club. My God, I can't think of anything worse. You'll never see a post from me saying, I get up before everyone else. But I do have daily rituals. And trust me, they change everything, because every morning before I start work, I just spend half hour going through my task list. I set out the jobs of the day, which includes my day job and my family stuff. And you chip away at the bigger picture and it sets you up for the day. And then once your tasks are in, you set your reminders. And we're going big on this with a guest really soon. But this is where the tech kicks in. I use notifications in my tasks, and I've started getting to grips with maximising the AI to make my life easier and getting some automation in place. And for the other 40-year-olds out there, I do have a whiteboard in my kitchen. You can't beat a pen and a whiteboard. And then once you've got your habits in place, you need to keep yourself accountable. And this is a biggie. My wife and I, we share the goals and the steps we're taking to achieve them. We both have got our separate roles. She handles the analysis and the bookkeeping. I do the strategy and building our brand. That's what all of this is. But every Sunday we sit down and we review what we've done, what worked, what didn't, where do we adjust. It's a team effort, and that collective accountability, it keeps us grounded and it keeps us motivated, and we support each other through it too. But I've got to tell you, even with all of these in place, it's still not sunshine and lollipops. I have these days where I feel like nothing's working. It's like I'm putting in all this graft and I'm not seeing the rewards. I could easily fold. But that's when you sit down and you reflect, why? Why did I start this? What's the end goal? And then I'll reset. Maybe I tweak a habit or two, but I certainly will not quit. And there's my tip of the week. Let's formalise it. Come on. Tip of the week. If you're feeling overwhelmed with the new side hustle or the new second business and things aren't going how you expected, whether that's through a false impression created by the social media world or whether that's a goal that you set that wasn't as achievable as you thought it would be, don't instinctively throw in the towel straight away. Every challenge comes with obstacles. Every obstacle is an opportunity. Remember your why, your purpose, and the reason you're doing it. Speak to your network, whether that's a peer, a partner, or your family, and for God's sake, go easy on yourself. Have a break and try again. Only this time, just try a different way and tell the world and the universe or whatever it is you believe in that this is the one that's going to work, and you kick on. Tip of the week. And that wraps the episode. Join us next week. Results week. Month 11 will be in the books by that point, and I'm going to talk about what went right and what went wrong and how it impacts the rest of the challenge. I'll talk a little bit about why I stopped doing the Amazon-only results too. Our guest next week is Callum Boyd. He's one of the owners and the founder of Arborsource. If you don't know Arborsource, you certainly will. It's a fantastic online arbitrage bit of software that scans the internet looking for products to sell at a profit. More of that next week, but for now, thank you once again for your time. I'm so grateful you're here. If you enjoy the show, please give me a rating and a subscribe. That would be lovely. Oh, and a review would be lovely too. Just saying. See ya.
Be sure to join us next time for another dose of inspiration and insights into e-commerce and entrepreneurship. And who knows, by then Des may well have finished that love project. And always remember, it's time to say goodbye poor, hello rich. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. We know times are tough right now, and if you are struggling financially, please seek help from an appropriate organisation. We've included a link to the Citizens Advice Bureau in the show notes. Remember, you should always consult with a qualified professional before making any significant financial decisions.